On this second April edition of Outlook TV, Dine Out for Life.
And the Gay Agenda with Fred Camperman.
The Rough Party. And much, much more. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Dan Doomshaw. Outlook TV is the queer news magazine show that brings you queer stories from coast to coast that matter the most.
We're going to start out with our first story in Vancouver with Dining Out for Life.
Angus brings us more.
Dining Out for Life 2015 is in full swing here in Vancouver. Let's go inside and see what's going on.
Well, we're here on a busy night at Forage doing Dine Out for Life 2015. This is our third year involved in the program, and we're super excited to be back again. We've got a full room, all sorts of really cool people in tonight. They're all excited about spending lots of money and raising lots of funds for Friends for Life and a Loving Spoonful.
I'm here to help explain what the organizations are, what the event is. We have guests from the hotel coming down. They have no idea what's going on, and they're already donating up a storm tonight.
Dining Out for Life is an annual fundraiser, and believe it or not, it's been in existence for 21 years, and we've raised over $3 million that goes right back here into our community to helping people living with HIV and AIDS.
For instance, it takes $3 to feed one of our clients a very lovingly cooked homemade brunch every Monday and Wednesday served at our house. It will provide acupuncture needles. It will provide all of the services that we bring to individuals at Friends for Life. We only have about 20% government funding that we can rely on annually. So 80% of our funds coming in to support our operating costs at Friends for Life are through direct fundraising like Dining Out for Life. So we couldn't give and do what we do without an event like this.
We were lucky enough to win $250 from the West End Business Improvement Association to donate to our favorite charity. And what better charity could it be than Dining Out for Life and our friends at Loving Spoonful and Friends for Life.
Fantastic. So are you going to give the presentation?
Here we go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you. We have restaurants that have signed up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some have just done breakfast, some have just done dinner, but it's great. We've got a restaurant community coming together to make a difference.
Well, I'm here with the Dogwood Monarchist Society, an organization I've supported for years, but also for A Loving Spoonful and Vancouver Friends for Life Society, two organizations really near and dear to my heart.
So specifically, you came out for Dining Out for Life?
Absolutely, of course. It's a really fun annual event. This is the 21st year, and here at Forage, it's just amazing to come out, see good friends, catch up with a little bubbly, some great food, and raise money for charity.
For Outlook TV at Dining Out for Life, this is Angus Prock in Vancouver.
It's that time of the year again where all those white shirts that went in with the Red Sox get pulled out and we get to have a day of pink.
We're at Ontario's provincial legislature in Toronto to talk to MPP Sherry DeNovo about the International Day of Pink, celebrated April 8th as a day of action against homophobic and transphobic bullying.
It's a day to combat bullying, mainly LGBT bullying of children who are different. And actually, I just came from a school this morning that was doing a wonderful day of pink with Don't Judge Me t-shirts, which was really nice, and talked about their own experiences with Day of Pink.
Now, Ontario recently released new legislation to combat bullying, and I know that you were a supporter of that endeavor.
Yeah. The Gay-Straight Alliance piece of legislation, which was very important, which basically said to all schools, you not only can have a Gay-Straight Alliance, but you should have a Gay-Straight Alliance. And in fact, if any children want a Gay-Straight Alliance, they should be allowed to have one. And when you consider that this covers both Catholic schools in Ontario and also secular schools under the public umbrella, it's very significant. And I know some students have had challenges in the past starting, and still have challenges, some of them, in starting gay-straight alliances in their schools. So again, very important legislation and one that we fought hard for.
Now, Day of Pink started as a grassroots effort in Halifax with students standing up to defend a classmate who'd been the victim of homophobic bullying.
Well, just because he was wearing a pink shirt, obviously. But we all know that it's not just about the pink shirt, it's about being queer, it's about being LGBTQ and trying to be out, or sometimes not even being out, just being queer in your school. And of course, we know that it's queer kids who mainly attempt suicide and that have extremely high suicide rates, higher than anyone else. We know that trans are even higher than that.
What do you think about the organization responsible for Day of Pink choosing Maureen Harper as the representative?
Well, look, we want everyone to be representative. And last time I was at Gervision's celebration in Ottawa, she was there as well. Mm-hmm. That's fine. You know, I think Americans are quite shocked to see that even conservatives in Canada support same-sex marriage, support our LGBTQ communities, and so it should be. All people, no matter what their political persuasion, should be supporting LGBTQ folk, and that's important. I think that's a good thing that she stands up and supports this, and I think it's a good thing that the community is reaching out to people of all sorts of different political opinions.
On International Day of Pink, for Outlook TV, I'm Kristen Malloy reporting from Queen's Park, Toronto.
It's time for us to take a little break now.
But we have so much more queer, so stick around, won't you?
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Next up, we are proud to bring you the Gay Agenda with our community executive producer, Fred Kamperman. Fred?
Just as legal court challenges to same-sex marriage are losing all around the United States, it looked like LGBTQ rights were finally being recognized as equal rights and human rights. And gay couples in Indiana finally could get married and have that wedding pizza they've always wanted. But then, a bomb was hurled at their wedding plans. The religious freedom law was signed by the Indiana Republican Governor Pence. This new law basically says, God told me to hate you, and now I have the legal right to do so. So I'm just following God's words here. Then the LGBTQ and their allies started throwing their own bombs back, economic bombs, from the likes of Apple, Walmart, and the NCAA. They all said that they would immediately pull out billions of dollars out of Indiana's already very unstable economy. Then good old boy Governor Pence, who by the way is also presidential hopeful, said, "What happened here? We're just practicing good old homophobia in the name of God." In a TV interview, he said that he wouldn't change the law. But later, under media pressure, he said that that language just needed some tinkering, but not enough to stop people from practicing their God-given right to hate and discriminate queers. The governor was surprised at the backlash. He thought everybody hated queers. Then he started to backpedal. He defended the freedom of religious rights, saying it was never their intention to discriminate. Well, from years of negotiating, when you hear it was never our intention, that's a red flag that it definitely was their intention. Governor Pence has a long history of blocking LGBTQ rights, but now that law has been amended. Canadians can now breathe a sigh of relief. Thank God we live in Canada, where our rights are protected. Well, I teach foreign students, many who want to immigrate to Canada. In my class, after students read the newspaper, they state their opinions like, "I hate to see gays and lesbians kiss in public. It makes me feel uncomfortable." Or, "I don't agree with gay marriage and they shouldn't be allowed to adopt." When I ask them why, they basically say they don't see that in their countries. So then I get them to replace the words gay, lesbian, or transgender with words like Asian, Black, Jewish, or Muslim, and see how their statement sounds like now. Canada has LGBTQ rights, but just like in the States, we have to be careful of religious freedom laws that might be introduced. Look at the discrimination against LGBTQ at places like Trinity Western University. Remember, LGBTQ rights can disappear with a stroke of a pen.
Up next, John Paul is going to take us to the Junction in Vancouver for the Rough Party.
Oh, are there going to be bears there? I don't have my spray.
I'm John Paul Payne and I'm here at the Junction in Vancouver, and tonight we're picking a winner for Mr. Rough 2015.
welcome our guest performer, Shane.
Mr. Ruff started in 2012 when we created the Ruff Party here in Vancouver. And at the end of the year, we decided to do a contest for the New Year's Eve party, which we held on the east side. For the charity challenge last night, we raised over $1,300. And the leader or the top fundraiser was Colin, one of our 4 candidates.
Tell us more about the donations. Where do they go?
They will go straight to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. That's the Vancouver Abbey of the Long Cedar Canoe. So that money will be used to help people in our community, people living with HIV, people living on the street. This event in Vancouver is gaining pretty much in popularity since 2012 when it was first started. Last night it was our 3rd year anniversary, and we welcome everyone to come and check us out.
Last year and this year, we've partnered with them on special nights to do a charity challenge. It's one of the things Mr. Ruff has to do to prove himself. And it's become like the most successful event that we do as sisters, like all year. Like we raise thousands of dollars every year, but we raise the most in one night. Vancouver Sisters, we're a registered charity, and we're the type of charity that's able to give to other charities. So we're not using it for our clothes and makeup. We'd look so much better if we did. Some people think that, but we don't. You can go to yvrsisters.ca. That's our website/blog. And there's a Donate Now with Canada Helps button on there, and you can totally go there and you can donate.
Any advice for the contestants tonight?
Relax, enjoy yourselves, and just enjoy every moment of it. It's a good time. You're supposed to be having fun. It's not about, oh my God, I'm going to win or not. It's about having a good time and then being friends with everybody.
The winner for 2015 Hunt for Mr. Ruff, Colin!
So there you go, we have a winner for Mr. Ruff 2015. I'm John Paul Payne in Vancouver for Outlook TV.
And up next, we're going to cover Sister Spit.
Say it, don't spray it.
Hello, this is Karen with Outlook TV, and we're at the Wise Hall tonight to see Sister Spit performance artists from San Francisco.
How many pancakes do you want, Brendan? How many pancakes do you want, Kelly? How many pancakes do you want, Charlie? How many pancakes do you want, Big Daddy?
The history of Sister Spit is kind of an outsider literary culture that's very focused on sort of a feminist and queer history. I thought it would be so funny to do a fake, snarky, sarcastic, ridiculous, over-the-top TED Talk about diet culture, in which I talk about diet culture in a way that is, in my opinion, fairly accurate. I mean, I talk about how sinister it is, how the history of it, how it affects people's lives, and I do this like really canned, motivational speaking voice where I'm like, hi, my name is Virgie Tovar.
How's the Canadian crowd for you?
I actually love it. Like every year that we're here, I find that a lot more people kind of show up than a lot of our shows, and I feel like the audience is very eager and very receptive to the performances and the material, so it makes me really happy to come back here every year.
Every time there is an awkward silence, a gay baby is born. I'm going to be reading from this goofy book of poetry that I toured with last time I went on Sister Spit. It's called Wish You Were Me. And then I'm going to be reading from a new collection of short stories. The title of the short story collection is How Some Abuelitas Keep Their Chicana Granddaughters Still While Painting Their Portraits in Winter. I unplugged my hand from my figgy pudding.
My collection of fictions, Look Who's Morphing. In this book, the
protagonist morphs or shape shifts into different sorts of figures, often from pop cultural sort of texts and landscapes. So it's quite a playful sort of book about sort of transformation and different shifts in who we are and who we might become.
I wanted to name my cat Genuine Leather.
Aware of my gender within the group, being and appearing very masculine, and so I'm trying to actually embody that every time I'm like whatever masculinity is. I'm trying to exploit that while I'm on stage and take it into consideration as a costume. All the different pieces I read all have different intentions. Hopefully expose the serious within the ridiculous and the ridiculous within the serious.
At the Wise Hall, this is Karen for Outlook TV.
Unfortunately, we need to take just a little break now.
Oh, but you'll be back.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Our next story brings us to the topic of conversion therapy. And the province of Ontario has recently tabled a bill that bans this controversial practice.
When somebody mentions ex-gay treatments or therapy to try to convert a transgender person into a cisgender person, we tend to think this happens in places like the deeply religious American South. But these harmful conversion therapies are a problem in Canada as well, and it's a problem that lawmakers at the Legislative Assembly of Ontario are working to fix. Bill 77 will accomplish two important things.
Yes, number one, banning conversion therapy for those 18 and under, that's our children, and also delisting it from our public health care program.
So the bill specifically mentions sexual orientation and gender identity.
We wanted to be very specific because we know, again, that conversion therapy is happening for trans kids being the ones most under threat of suicide and depression. And they're the kids, if any kids need to be protected, they need to be protected too. So we did not want to leave them out. It would have been wrong to do so, particularly in Ontario, where we already have protection for them under the Ontario Human Rights Code.
You had suggested a particular timeline for the passing of this bill. What was that?
Yes, well, I found with Toby's Law, that was a bill I tabled many times before it became law. And finally, the final push was, let's get this done by Pride. Toby's Law, by the way, added gender identity and gender expression to the Ontario Human Rights Code. So with Bill 77, the anti-conversion therapy bill, I tried the same ploy. I said, come on, it's Pride coming up in June. Let's get this bill passed by the time Pride rolls around in the city.
What consequences could a service provider face if they continue to perform conversion therapy on children?
Well, I think most importantly, it hits them in their pocketbook, so they can't bill for it anymore. That's very important, and I wouldn't underestimate the power of that. But number two, I think professional misconduct all the way to losing your license is also a reasonable threat to have out there for someone who does practice this. And I think it's important to uphold that. Again, we're talking about children. We're talking about the safety of our children. And I can't reiterate that enough. Wherever conversion therapy is being practiced, it threatens the safety of our children, both mental and physical.
The bill does have all-party support.
But it still needs to go through committee, which I think is a good process because at committee they will hear from victims. And then from committee, with any luck at all, it goes back to becoming law in the House. That we need the Liberal government to act on. We cannot do it without their support. So keep writing those letters.
While provincial funding for this therapy may come as a shock for many, the good news is that with rare and encouraging all-party support, Bill 77 may become law very soon. For Outlook TV, I'm Kristen Malloy, Toronto.
In the disability community, disclosure is a touchy topic. Do you disclose? Who do you tell? What will their reactions be? Will you even get a job? Today I talked to Richard Marion, who is dealing with those issues on top of coming out of the closet.
My really good friend first, I told her first because I needed someone to say to me, are you prepared for basically, if once you tell your family, possibly losing your job? Because I work in my family's small business as well too, and I do the office administration work. And so that was one of the reasons I told her first, so I could kind of go over those kinds of things and those aspects if things go really bad with my family, what might happen. Thankfully it didn't, and it turned out fairly well.
And what resources
an organization that's based out of the United States that's called Blind LGBT Pride. But in the process of finding it, I'm one of these people that gets involved in organizations and becomes a fairly active volunteer. And then this past July I was elected treasurer. So now I'm the treasurer, and I still am helping to coordinate their international outreach as well too.
What is the difference between Blind Pride and mainstream Pride?
Blind Pride it was mainly set up as a vehicle to sort of help people who are blind become more integrated in the LGBTQ community. It was also set up to work on ways to make literature that would be specific to gays and lesbians and people that are transgendered and people that are bisexual, more accessible. Like it's a small organization. It is still the only organization of its type in the world, specifically dealing with people who are blind in the LGBT community.
How has the reception been in the GLBT community?
From my perspective, I've come into it being blind and trying to get more active in the LGBT community. And so I can't say I've had a bad reception, but I think it's just the lack of knowledge of disability in general. And the blind community is a little smaller than the deaf community, so we haven't been able to make the kind of inroads, say, as like the BC Rainbow Alliance of the Deaf has done.
Have you participated in any mainstream Pride events, and how has that been for you?
I actually did participate in the Pride Parade 3 years ago now, and usually try to go to some Pride event. Like I can't say I haven't made any friends in the GLBT community. I've got a lot of good friends.
I'm Christy Cassie for Outlook TV.
Up next, we have a story about stuff and things.
Gay stuff and gay things.
This is Ray Clark reporting for Outlook TV Vancouver. We are going to meet up with the Leaping Thespians today at their super secret rehearsal space. Let's go and see what they have to say.
When I told her the woman I met last weekend promised to call and didn't. I'm sorry, but you really shouldn't stay.
Leaping Thespians are a group that's been around in Vancouver since about 2001. Prior to that, it was up in Nelson. Its primary focus is generating work for women in all aspects of theatre, and primarily telling lesbian stories.
Come, you guys look incredible. Beth, come see your Dr. Manton in drag.
Jacqueline has lost her voice.
This is my first full play. I've directed little bits and pieces for Leaping Thespians before, just like little 20-minute pieces or so, but this play runs about 70 minutes.
What's your favorite part of the process as of this point?
Just anticipating the opening night, and when you can hear the pin drop and the show started. It's like knowing that all the work you've done up to that point is coming out on stage then, on that moment.
What challenges have you had with this show?
Prop heavy. You take a look at these cucumbers. We have to make sure they don't look like that on the night. We just have to make sure we give them actors fresh food. They're gonna, eat.
Sensational. You should dress like that all the time.
Oh, then I wouldn't let her out of the house.
What would you guys say is the biggest draw for the audience to come see this show?
It's funny, and it's also one thing that's great about this play is that it's not a long play.
It's got this murder mystery feel to it, but it's very light, and the characters are a lot of fun and kind of goofy. It's not taking itself seriously.
I always get horny when I'm mad. You have lipstick on your face.
My character is the character Beth. I would say the meatiest thing about her is she's not very nice, and nobody really likes me except for the woman I'm with, Michelle. And the other character I play is Officer Boudreau, which should give you some indication that something might happen to Beth.
What are the biggest challenges that you guys have had with this show?
Playing a man has been my biggest. It's just like different way to walk, to sit, to stand, and lower voice. It's been fun to challenge.
Did you guys have a chance to meet with the author,
Mary Harvey?
Yes.
Yeah. She didn't say much, but she seemed to be excited that we were putting this up. It was neat to have her there. It's rare to have a playwright.
It is, yeah. It's a bit of a treat.
Any of the rehearsals, yeah.
It's become my favorite tagline. There's a lot of awesome women in this play playing some awesome femme fatales in history.
This has been Ray Clark in Vancouver for Outlook TV.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this, the 2nd April episode of 2015.
But we may see you in May.
Oh, no, we'll for sure see you in May.
And in the meantime, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and watch us on YouTube.
Thanks for watching. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Dan Dimshaw. Stay fabulous, Canada.